Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Downing, and today I'm coming back to you with my first portable Nintendo 64 in nearly 4 years. And that's no small absence, and within that time frame, advances in portable making have been absolutely insane. And with these new advances, I've taken on a new commission that has allowed me to build a brand new generation of portable Nintendo 64. So let's go check this thing out. And for old time's sake, be sure to hit that like button, and for new time's sake, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's go! Now, part of what makes this a new generation is this is the first ground-up portable N64 that I've made in over 8 years. Though I have made several others, they were mostly based on the same design with slightly different variations. This time around, though, the build took on a whole new form factor because, aside from the display, every single component was going to be revised. And because of this, the whole system ended up being tighter, more compact, and more efficient than ever before. There are several reasons why I didn't change the form factor for so many years, but mainly it was component efficiency. With all the custom PCBs in place that were designed specifically around the old casing, it made it hard to justify doing them over again just for the sake of making a new case design. But that has since changed, and most of the parts in the old PCBs were designed around have become obsolete or better alternatives have come around. This provided the opportunity to start from the ground up with a new case design with several more modern components. And using some of the same case techniques I pioneered through the Tiger Boy projects, I ventured out on a fresh new layout. One of the coolest features from the Tiger Boy project was the use of a custom printed and CNC cut screen protector. Adapting that concept to this project was actually fairly easy, and knowing that the cleanest result was from using a combination of printed adhesive vinyl and CNC cut acrylic made this one of the more simple parts of the build. I did, however, try something new, which in the end was basically just a battery indicator and LED mask. Final results weren't 100% what I was looking for, but it was good enough for a proof of concept, and I'll be tweaking it in future builds to really dial in the effect, but we'll get more into this feature shortly. But like before, when it came to custom circuit boards and coding, I again needed help from those who have been around the block a few times. And few have been around more times than G-Man and Aurelio from 4Layer Tech. So once I had a basic idea of the enclosure design, G-Man and I got to work. Though most of my old N64 portables all use custom PCBs for the controllers, audio, and power management, the design was all modular in its approach. This meant everything still needed to be manually wired somewhere, which was more reliable than past efforts, was still a messy business, even though these modern versions of these boards are modular as well. That's really what gives them their versatility. But for this project, we decided to use a main motherboard. And by doing so, yes, we'd be cleaning up a huge chunk of that wiring cluster. But all these boards are still modular, so how does that work? Well, as it turns out, they all fit directly onto it, because they come from the minds of portable making geniuses, and all these modular boards was designed for this purpose. But not only did the main motherboard integrate all these parts, on the opposite side of the board, instead of using the usual tack switches, we instead put contact pads that would allow us to use the conductive rubber membranes that all real controllers use for a very authentic and accurate feel. This of course also reduced the amount of wiring by a ton. Another new piece we added was a redesign of the flat flexible card slot cable. 4 years ago when the first one was tested, FFC was pretty new to the hobbyists and was still pretty expensive. But now their uses have become a lot more practical, and though the old version did function, it did have issues. And it was also designed for the original N64 cartridge slot. This new design was based off a generic 50-pin Cartridge connector, one that was guaranteed to be free of pet hair and corrosion. Yeah. And because the main idea of a portable is to move around, I needed one that would hold the cart a bit tighter than the original did. And this time around, I had to think of a design that would keep the traces shorter than the last one, while also not sitting directly over the RCP and RAM chips. So I came up with a rough outline in SolidWorks and printed a couple variations on regular paper. This was to make sure not only the layout fit with all the bends it would be making, but also to make sure that the pins on the cart and the N64 lined up. As it turned out, it was a good thing it was done this way, as we had some pretty funky mislabeled pin pitches to deal with. But in the end, the paper copies fit perfectly and we just rolled with it. We did have to add a base PCB for the cart slot to actually mount to, but fortunately this was very easy, and it fit great with a custom mount that was built right into the case. One of the last internal improvements was a feature I've never added to a portable before, but really should have a long time ago. And that was a battery level indicator. And I really have to thank Aurelio for this, as he was kind enough to actually write a custom version of the firmware for the PMS Lite to accommodate this. When the system is not plugged in or turned on, there's really nothing to see. But power up the system or plug the USB-C charging cable, and boom! A hidden backlit Nintendo logo lights up. But of course, like with any new version of anything, there's always oops moments or things that did not go according to plan. And this project was no exception.
That ain't right.
Nitpicking aside though, it's taken nearly 9 months to get to this point, and a modern revision of the very portable style that got me into the hobby to begin with has been a great deal of fun to work on. With the new components and fabrication techniques I have at my disposal, the durability and aesthetic quality continues to increase, while the assembly and troubleshooting time drastically decreases. And with future revisions that will work out the kinks of the first build like this, I'm excited to see where they go. But as always guys, I want to thank you for stopping by and checking out this video. There will be more on this project in the near future, as well as more technical and raw video going over the build process and the next versions of these portables. So keep an eye out for that. Again, thank you, and if you're new here, be sure to check out my custom air hockey table and the Tiger Boy advances from my previous videos. Thanks a lot, guys. Later.